Welcome back to another week here in the Horticulture Geek Garden. Come along as we work on some more projects. What's up, YouTube friends? Welcome back to Horticulture Geek. I'm Ray, and thank you so much for joining me this week here in the garden. So this week I've just got a few random projects that we are going to be working on. But I do want to say, I know I had promised a video of the front flower beds. We've got to finish the front flower beds, getting the irrigation put in and getting the mulch and all that put in. And time has just slipped away from me. I have added a few plants out there. I've got a few more plants to add out there. And I've got the irrigation supplies, so I do have all of that, but I'm just not ready to get out there and tackle that yet. So we are working towards that goal. And in the meantime, we're just working on other projects around the garden. Today, we are going to be working on a pair of my favorite containers. I have owned these containers for many years. They predate this home, this garden. I've carried them around with me for a while. And I just love them. They're old, they're faded, they're worn out, but they're good quality pots. And I like planting them up every year. And so let me turn the camera around here where you can kind of see them. I've got them on my workbench here on the back of my truck. So I love the scroll design on them. I love the green color. Like I said, they're faded, they're old. They really could use a fresh paint job, but I'm not worried about that. At this point, they just bring good character to the garden. Now, these containers were filled up last year, and these currently live in a shady spot on either side of a gate into the garden. And so I had some coleus and a few other things in here last year. The soil is still in really good shape. And as I emptied out some containers, some smaller containers this year that had some good soil left in them, I have topped these containers off, and I have some fresh potting soil right here that I'm going to use to top them off even further. Now, since I am dealing with containers with older soil, I mean, this is still really good quality soil. Let me let you see this. Okay? Like, this is still good, fluffy, rich soil. It is not dried out. It is not crusty. It definitely has lots of good life in it. But because it is used soil, I did have plants in it last year, I am going to, my standard solution here, I'm going to give this soil a refresh and a charge up with the Biotone, okay? A good dose of Biotone is going to reactivate this soil. It's going to put mycorrhiza back into this soil, and it's going to give some fertilization that the plants will need as they grow. And it is a windy day here. Some of you may have already picked up on that. So I apologize if there's wind noise in the audio. But let's go ahead and get this Biotone in here. We're just going to sprinkle it in. Okay. And then just using a garden trowel, I'm just going to give it a quick mix to incorporate that Biotone into this soil. All right, and now we're gonna just finish topping them off. All right, and I'm just gonna give this a good mix too, just to get it all blended together. All right, so now here we have it. These containers are pretty full to the top, and they are ready to go for this season. Now, I am putting some perennials in here this year. Last year it was strictly annuals. This year I'm going to be putting some perennials and annuals in here. And the hope for me is that these containers can just kind of live for a few more years before the perennials need to come out, find new homes, and the soil be completely replaced. So let me grab the plants that are going in these containers and let's have a look at those, because I picked up some really pretty things. All right, so here are the plants that I picked up to go into these containers. So like I said, I've got some, to me, some really beautiful stuff. So let me put the camera back up and where you can see me, and we'll talk about each plant individually. But isn't this going to just be beautiful? Okay, so first off, the star of the show is this. Isn't this, I love this. This is a coral bells or a heuchera, and this is called Carnival Watermelon. So let me show you the tag. Okay. It's a perennial. It stays evergreen for most of the year for me here in Central Arkansas, zone 7B, 8A, and just a beautiful, and look at the underside of the leaves too. I mean, the underside of the leaves have just as pretty a color as the top side of the leaves. They really show that purpley, watermelony, reddish tone on the backside. So, beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. The next plant I'm going in with is a hosta. And I like this hosta because of the white edges. Remember, this is a shade container, so I want a pop. I want some brightness and some interest. This hosta is going to do that. It's going to put size on it. The heuchera is going to put size on itself. And we're gonna have this just beautiful pop of color. This is called the Karen or the Karine hosta. Let me just show you that tag there. I picked this up at the big box store. Pretty easy to find a hosta like that. And now if we're keeping in mind containers, I like to say this for different videos, but if you're new to putting a container in, you want 3 elements in a container. You want a thriller, a filler, and a spiller, okay? In this situation, this bright red is my thriller. It draws your eye right in. This hosta is going to be a filler. It can also be a thriller. My spiller, something that's going to hang down the side of the container and soften the whole look, is this. This is a Tradescantia. Some people call these velvet plant or something, I believe, but a Tradescantia. And these will flower. They put out little, small, dainty, pinky purple flowers. But this will just kind of continue to grow. It'll get big, and it will start trailing down the side of the container. And then my other filler for this container is begonias. So I just picked up a 6-pack of white begonias, and I have those here. And these are just called green leaf white begonias, okay? So this is going to fill these containers up and give me that pop of color and interest I need in these. And the good news is I've got 2 for sure perennials in here. Tradescantia, depending on how cold you get, can be a perennial. For some people, it is an annual. And then I've got 2 annuals in here. So chances are for me, these containers will be right back in the garden next year, and all I'll have to do is freshen up some of my annual choices in these containers. All right, so now that I've walked through all of that, let me just get these planted up. Here we go. All right, there we have them, both planted up. I think they look really fun. So the gate will be right here in the middle on either side of these containers. So now I just gotta get them in place and then I'll show you that. All right, so it's been a different day, but our next project here for this video is, I'm very excited for these. I finally found the finishing pieces to our front yard flower beds. And this is really the reason that the video I promised about getting my mulch, my irrigation done, hasn't happened yet. I've been waiting to find these plants. So what I have here are quick fire hydrangea trees. So these are pruned into trees, and they are going to be going into the front yard. I've got the tag right here. All right. So if anybody's interested in any of that, there you go. So I already have the holes pre-dug in the front yard because there's no need for you to watch me dig a hole. So let's go plant our quick fire fab hydrangeas in the front flower beds. All right, let's move right along to our next project. And we're gonna be tackling our wall baskets on our gate that goes into the garden. So let me get the planting wells out of here and we're gonna go get set up to get these things planted. All right, so here we are set up and ready to go. So I have 6 planting wells that go into those 3 baskets. So each basket gets 2 planting wells. These planting wells sit down into that plastic wall basket, and that plastic wall basket acts as a water reservoir. And the planting wells, as you can see, have holes in the bottom, which allows these plants to draw water up from that water reservoir as they need it throughout the day. I have those planters on drip irrigation, but because it's a small planting reservoir, we're planting in the hot summer with lots of heat, the plants are going to need a little extra help so they don't wilt throughout the day. So this particular basket gives me that edge where as the drip runs, it not only waters the plants, but it fills up the water reservoir so that until the next time the drip system runs, the plants have some water to draw from and they won't wilt down. So I love these planter baskets, and I've talked about them before on my channel, and I picked them up at kinsmangardens.com. Now, what are we putting in the pots this year on the gate? Keeping it very simple, very straightforward. We're just using this right here. This is Super Bell's Coral Sun. So, just a beautiful, bright pop of color to go across the gate. These will thicken up and fill in, and it will just bring us some cohesion to those gates. And I got a couple of these to go into the planters on each side of the gate as well. So we'll bring that cohesion back down into the whole scheme there at the gate. So I'm looking forward to it. But that's all we're putting in the pot this year, is this plant in each planting reservoir. So I've got my bucket of soil here. I'm just gonna get these planted up. I'll do one on camera, and then I'll go through the rest, and then we'll get them into place. So, oh yeah, these have good, healthy roots. Okay, so these container sets in the gate like that, in the container. So I'm gonna stick it into this container so where this is level, but that kind of leaves a hump right here, right? That's okay, I'm just gonna manipulate that down very gently. It's not gonna hurt the plant at all. And then I can backfill around to fill the empty space. All right, so here I have one of them planted up. I'm just gonna run through the others and get these on the gate. We'll be right back. Okay, so I've got all those planted and put on the gate, but I wanna work on the pots next before I show you what we've done. So I've got to go clean the pots out, but before I did that, I figured I would stop right here and show you what we're putting in the containers. So I'm going with caliber koas again for those containers. So each container is going to get a Super Bell's White. Okay. That tag's hard to read, sorry. Super Bell's White. Each container is going to get the Coral Sun, just like the gate. And then each container is going to get a Grape Punch. Okay? So that we have a fun color combo going on in those pots. So now then, I just need to move out there. We're gonna clean out those containers and get them planted. Okay, so here we are. I've got these containers here, and they are still full of pansies that were here all winter long. These pansies were planted last fall. So here for me in central Arkansas, zones 7B, 8A, pansies are an all winter flower. They just kept chugging along all winter long, and these were absolutely beautiful. And this spring they just put on a huge show for us, and I really hate to pull them out because they've got so much color on them. But as you can probably see, they're getting extremely leggy. They're about to be done. And so it's better at this point, even though there's color on them, it's better to go ahead and pull them out because I know that they are on their last legs, and get my new stuff in the pot so that it can start growing. And then it'll be, once the full summer heat hits, they will be established and ready to go, which the full summer heat for me is just right around the corner. So if you're in this situation in your garden, and I do apologize for the wind and all the noise, but if you're in this situation, it hurts sometimes when you feel like you're losing color, but go ahead and pull these out and get your fresh stuff going so that you can just be done with it, because these are not going to last. Really, probably another 2 to 3 weeks is all I would have these, but that's 2 to 3 weeks that my new stuff can go ahead and be establishing itself and getting ready to put on a big color show for the rest of the summer. So it's just better to do it. So here we go. We're just reaching in and pulling them out. Okay, so now that I've got the container cleared out, I'm gonna add a little bit of fresh potting soil just to bring my level back up. And now, of course, I'm gonna be adding biotone. All right, so now then, I've just got to get these plants put in their new home. So these 3 calibrachoas are gonna be more than enough to fill this pot. And once they grow up, they're gonna give me lots of good color. So let's go ahead and get these put into place. All right, I just have to repeat this on the other side. All right, so here we go. It doesn't look like much now, but once these plants get a little growth on them and really flush out with color, they are going to be beautiful. So everything's watered in, fertilized, and ready to go. All right, so here we have the final product. And we are a week out from Memorial Day, so I've got my American flags out as well. But I am absolutely in love with these hydrangea trees. All All right, guys, so that's going to wrap up our projects for this week here at the Horticulture Geek Gardens. I hope you've enjoyed tagging along with me this week as I have tackled those projects. And I hope that you enjoy what I've picked out to go into the garden this year. And you'll just have to follow along as we watch these things grow. So now I've got all the plants planted in the front that I want to plant. So truly my next step out there is mulch and irrigation. The irrigation job should not be too hard, so hopefully we will get to that within the next week or so. It is Memorial Day coming up in a week, so I've got all my flags out there. Hopefully you enjoyed seeing that. And then we've just got some other random projects going on that'll be coming up. And then soon, hopefully, I will be doing a garden tour, so we'll just walk through all the spaces and let you guys look at everything that I've got going on thus far in the garden. But as far as this video this week, hopefully you have enjoyed it. From simple planters to elaborate shade planters to big planting projects in the front yard. Hopefully you have gathered some information and some inspiration for your own gardens. If you have any questions about any projects that I've worked on or any projects that you're working on, leave those down below and I'll be happy to help you in any way that I can and respond to all those questions. If you've enjoyed today's video, give me that thumbs up. I certainly would appreciate it. And if for some reason you haven't hit that subscription bell and that notification, go ahead and do that so you can stay up to date on all the videos I release here from Horticulture Geek. I hope you have enjoyed the video, and until next time, guys, from my garden to yours, I wish you all the best and happy gardening.